On the news, Nigerian government imposed nationwide travel ban to check COVID-19 spread as infection toll nears 900. Federal government decry lack of resources to repatriate Nigerians in diaspora due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And ECOWAS appoints Nigeria's Muhammadu Buhari champion of COVID-19 response. A warm welcome to News Now. I am Fidelia Aguncha. Governors of Nigeria's 36 states have banned interstate travel for 2 weeks to curtail the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. A statement released by the Nigeria Governors Forum after a teleconference on Wednesday said only essential services will be permitted to move between states. Besides Lagos, Ogun and Abuja, where the federal government declared a lockdown, most states across the country have also enforced some form of restriction on movement and other activities. So far, about 25 states, including the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, have reported confirmed cases of COVID-19. Well, the nationwide travel ban has been generating reactions amongst Nigerians, with public affairs analyst Achike Achudo describing it as a step in the right direction. Achudo, in a Skype interview with TV360, said the decision will help control the spread of the infection, which has so far affected most Nigerian states.
Any effort that is made towards preventing this from becoming as devastating as we have seen in other places is something that is commendable. But again, of course, you know that in the battle against this kind of pandemic, that there are so many measures that one has to look at. And this lockdown, interstate lockdown, is just one of many. So many have been done in some places where we had lockdowns earlier. Lagos, Ogun State, where churches and religious bodies, mosques, and gatherings, theaters, and the rest have activities in those places have essentially come to an end. And then in most other states in the country, it's been taken very serious. So I think it is a step in the right direction. But the issue is, or the question is it going to stop the tide? To some extent, it's going to do that, but only with serious limitations, obviously.
Achudo, however, urged the government to put in place measures to ensure the relief items meant to cushion the effect of the lockdown gets to the right persons and households.
What is going on is a shame and a scandal. The fact that these palliatives seem to be getting to very, very few people, and the people that is getting to a lot of us do not even know. And there is people have posited that if you want to get these things across to people, there is the BVN that a lot of people are conversant with, and so many Nigerians have been forced to use the BVN. And so what it means is that you want to get palliatives to people, you want to get cash to people, you use the financial system to get these things across to people. The way it's being done has elicited a lot of suspicion that government officials are, stealing these palliatives and profiting at the detriment of the Nigerian people. So that is one area that I'll be looking at, that the social consequences of this lockdown should be looked at, and that is that the welfare of the people must be uppermost in the minds of those that are in government. They must do something to address the increasing hunger in the land.
Nigeria's Minister of Health, Osage Ehanire, says about 40 health workers have tested positive for coronavirus in the country. Ehanire disclosed this on Thursday during the briefing of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 in Abuja, the nation's capital. He therefore appealed to medical workers in the front line of the COVID-19 fight to always protect themselves while giving treatment to infected patients. Nigeria has so far confirmed 873 COVID-19 cases, of which 197 have recovered from the illness. Meanwhile, the country has recorded 28 COVID-19 related deaths, of which about 3 are medical practitioners. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has inaugurated a 70-bed COVID-19 isolation and Treatment Center located within the premises of Landmark Exhibition Center in Etiosa local government area. The 70-bed Etiosa Isolation Center was constructed by the Young President Organization YPO Lagos State Chapter. The center has a 10-bed intensive care isolation unit, 4 ventilators, monitors, respirators, mobile X-ray, ultrasound and oxygen equipment. Sanwo-Olu at the unveiling said the facility would provide additional capacity to support the already existing isolation facilities in the state. Lagos COVID-19 facilities include a 110-bed isolation center at Onikon and another 100-bed capacity center at the Infectious Disease Hospital in Yaba. Well, since the outbreak of coronavirus in Nigeria, the lockdown in many states, the federal government has been distributing both cash and food items to Nigerians to cushion the effect of the lockdown. However, many Nigerians have been complaining that they are yet to receive anything from the government. Some lawmakers have also accused the ministry in charge of the palliative of lack of transparency. Tunjiri in this special report looks at federal government palliative to Nigerians and why some are complaining about it. Take a listen.
In the last 2 weeks, Nigeria has been partially on lockdown in some states and fully on lockdown in others. This lockdown becomes necessary in view of the country's fight against coronavirus pandemic. While the nation is on lockdown, economic activities have ground to a halt. The informal sector of the economy, where majority of Nigerians operate, have shut down, while daily feeding have become serious concern to people in this sector. Nigerians reacting to the situation went on social media to demand palliatives from government to cushion the effect of the stay-at-home order. Today, the federal government palliative effort across the country has become another subject of controversy. The Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, under the watch of Sadiya Umar Farouk, has been reaching out to millions of Nigerians in cash and food items. But it seems the efforts are far from being enough, as Nigerians complain bitterly of not getting any form of palliative.
There is no help coming from anywhere. We are calling on the government to come and assist us with anything they can, so that we can use it to feed our children. You can see how they are just everywhere.
I have not received anything from government. I have not received anything from government. And I don't know anybody around me that have received anything from the government. We only hear it on television, only hear it in news, but I have not seen it physically.
Not only the common man is complaining, some lawmakers who are representatives of the people have also expressed dissatisfaction with the way the palliative program is handled. Senator Ali Ndume was forced to complain about the palliative distribution. The lawmaker says the exercise has rather become a conduit pipe to some to make the nation. Senator Francis Fadausi is another lawmaker calling for an extensive probe of the activities of the ministry.
Generally, whatever Senator Ali Ndume said is not far from being correct. All of us are in the same ship of knowing the beneficiaries. But since the beneficiaries are not known openly, automatically, since it is done in the secrecy, it will be disbanded. One, we found out that there's a lot of fraud there. How will you give Nigerian money, our own money, and those Nigerians can never be named wherever they are? Are they foreigners? Whatever party they are Nigerians. We are their representatives. We should know. So Ali Ndume is from a place, a war zone, where poverty is reigning supreme. So automatically he must feel it.
I was in Kwali local government area where the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development and witnessed firsthand the sharing of cash to indigent Nigerians. These Nigerians were quite happy with government's gesture.
As they give me, I'm so happy because I go buy food for my children, keep the remaining one to do a little business I'm doing.
There are a lot of testimonials that we can share with you. It has improved a lot of them's livelihood. It has improved the human capital. That is, they are now able to send their children to school. They are now able to feed, have a better diet.
Records from the cash transfer program of the government shows that over 11 million Nigerians have benefited across 35 states so far. FCT received 10 trucks of rice added with vegetable oil and grains for the people.
So today we are handing over this food relief to the honorable ministers here with me for onward distribution to the poor and vulnerable households in the Federal Capital Territory.
The reality is, those that are in need in Abuja, if you look at all the 6 area councils, are very, very many. I said that there is a need for you to consider additional palliative to the FCT. She just smiled at me. She didn't answer me. I thought she would go back to the office, sit down and analyze our request with our people, but I was so pleasantly surprised that she just doubled our allocation. So God bless you well.
We will always request for more, especially where we know we have the needy, like the mother that we are, both of us. You can see like I want to say thank you for considering to add more. But again, like the proverbial Oliver Twist, I'll be on your neck. Oh.
No doubt the federal government intervention during this lockdown has been massive, both in cash and food distribution. But Nigerians are alleging that there is a disconnect between the movement of this palliative from government to the masses. From Abuja, Tunji Oye, TV360 News.
And to Lagos State, member of the National Assembly representing Lagos, Oluremi Tinubu, has expressed concerns over reports that some Lagos residents were yet to receive palliative to cushion the effects of the lockdown. She said this at the distribution of palliative to residents of local governments under her senatorial district. Represented by Wahab Alawaye King, Tinubu urged all those selected to receive the palliative to ensure transparency in its distribution.
Continue to give palliative measures using relevant and critical stakeholders in each community. And Senator Oluremi Tinubu being a critical stakeholder in Lagos Central Senatorial District. That is why these materials are coming through her to the people of Lagos Central Senatorial District. Our office has identified, the less privileged, the firm, the feeble, the invalid, the widow, the widower, all the less privileged in the community, the vulnerable. And the idea is for it to reach every nook and cranny of the constituency. The distribution strategy is very efficient and effective in the sense that all the LGA chairmen will come and collect this and give it to the ward chairman. The ward chairman will give it to the zonal chairman, and the zonal chairman will give it to the unit chairman. So in other words, it will get to every nooks and crannies of the society. They've already identified all these groups, and they will pass through them to get to the less privileged.
We always believe and stand by the instruction given by the state governor through Senator Oluremi Tinubu to us, because in us there's always this discipline that you must follow the instruction to the latter, and the instruction is we have to go and look for the vulnerable people within our society, both the disabled, both people that needs this food, people that really needs it. And because we are always within our community, we know these people, we know how to get in touch to them. So we are going to reach out to every one of them to make sure they get this food item. It's not for party, it's not for anything, it's for the people within the community who that we know that needs this thing.
Well, still on the COVID-19 pandemic, Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, says the federal government cannot bring back all Nigerians willing to come back to the country over the pandemic. Speaking at a daily briefing of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 in Abuja on Wednesday, Onyema said the priority of the government now is to bring back some students stuck in Khartoum, Sudan. Onyema also revealed that there are not enough facilities in place to cater for Nigerians who are willing to come back home. He said, quote, "We have some students who are stuck in Khartoum in Sudan. We have to bend over backwards because they are our young children to find the resources to pay for their return and also pay for their 2-week isolation But unfortunately for all the others, we just don't have the financial resources, end of quote. The government had earlier asked Nigerians in the diaspora who wish to return home due to the pandemic to indicate their interest, and adding that they should be able to cover the cost of their repatriation. Meanwhile, 72 Nigerians awaiting evacuation from China have tested positive for the coronavirus. A memo from the Foreign Affairs Office of Guizhou Municipal People's Government to the Nigerian consulate in Guizhou confirmed the development. The statement also said tests conducted on 56 Nigerians indicated that the affected individuals are asymptomatic, raising concerns that they might have infected other people. 16 Nigerians had earlier tested positive for the virus, bringing the total number to 72. The Chinese authorities have now begun contact tracing for over 65 persons who had contact with the positive cases. The federal government had announced plans to evacuate Nigerians in China following complaints of racism and stigmatization against them by Chinese officials in Guizhou. Nigeria aviation sector remains in an induced coma after the federal government ordered the closure of all airports in the country as a measure to contain further spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. Aviation expert Chris Aligbe has been highlighting the impact of the government's decision and the COVID-19 pandemic on the sector and its workforce. He says the pandemic will likely lead to hundreds of job loss, and he adds that recovery will take about 12 to 18 months and urged the federal government to provide stimulus to operators in the sector.
The airlines, all their employees, particularly on the commercial side, they are not operating, so they are not generating revenue. If they manage to sustain the workers, it will just be for a little time. It's not going to be for a long period in time. For a short period in time, if they manage to sustain them. Otherwise, the next thing is that you hear them restructuring and trying to keep staff up to cope with the level of the operation and the revenue that is available to them. For the agencies that are owned by government, maybe for 1 month or 2 months, they can keep the workers on, paying their salary. But it's not only paying their salaries that is the issue. What about the normal maintenance that should go on, particularly with the airports, the airport authority? There's nothing that will go on except paying workers their salaries, and they keep coming. So there is so much that needs to be addressed. Workers are on, but the airlines, I'm afraid, will not be able to keep their workers on for a longer period in time because they are not operating, they are not generating any revenue. When the pandemic is over, which we are praying that should happen, it will take about 18 months, 18 to 24 months before operations, before normalcy can return. And when I mean normalcy to pre-COVID-19 pandemic, that's when normalcy will return. So if you take, maybe January, February as a baseline, it will take up to 12 months. That is into almost middle of next year before ever normalcy will begin to return.
Presidents of West African countries, under the aegis of ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, have appointed President Muhammadu Buhari champion of the COVID-19 response. The appointment took place on Thursday at the extraordinary ECOWAS Summit on COVID-19, which was held via teleconferencing under the chairmanship of Mahamadou Issoufou, President of the Republic of Niger. During the teleconference, President Buhari called on fellow ECOWAS leaders to look beyond the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic and tap into various opportunities that it presents for the betterment of lives in member states. The Nigerian leader, citing unprecedented economic uncertainties, used the occasion to rally other leaders to embrace agriculture, technology, and innovation in order to emerge stronger. The postponed 2021 Women's European Championship will take place from the 6th to the 31st of July 2020, UEFA has confirmed. The tournament to be held in England has been pushed back after the Men's European Championship and the Tokyo Olympics were both postponed until 2021 because of the COVID-19 pandemic. The intention is to use the same venues as the original tournament. UEFA President Alexander Ceferin says the move ensures the competition will get the spotlight it deserves. England will open the tournament at Manchester United's Old Trafford Stadium on the 7th of July, one of the 10 venues used across the country, with Wembley hosting the final. We'll take a break here to return with more stories. Stay with us. Welcome back. The Nigerian military says it has destroyed the camps of suspected militia fighters in Benue State and recovered a large cache of arms, ammunition and other items. In a statement, the military said the exercise carried out by troops of Operation Wellstroke was sequel to timely and credible information received on the activities of armed militia operating around the border areas of Benue and Taraba State. This is coming hours after troops of Operation Lafia Adole destroyed structures housing Boko Haram terrorist leaders in Borno State. Coordinator, Defense Media Operations, Major General John Enenche, who confirmed the development, said the Air Task Force conducted the attacks at Bulawa on the fringes of the Sambisa forest. He adds that the military will continue to sustain the offensive against the terrorists as part of effort to restore peace and security in the northeast. The Edo State Commissioner of Police, Lawan Jimeta, has confirmed the release of the State Commissioner for Science and Technology, Emmanuel Agbale, from his abductors. Agbale was kidnapped around Benin Auchi Road, Edo State on Friday, 17th of April 2020. He was said to be on his way to Ekboma when the gunmen reportedly opened fire on his vehicle and killed his orderly before being abducted. The police, however, did not reveal if a ransom was paid to secure his release. The Nigerian government has finalized arrangements for the release of 60 out of the 73 Nigerians imprisoned in Tanzania. Abdulrahman Balogun, head of Media and Public Relations Unit, Nigeria in Diaspora Commission, confirmed this on Thursday. He says repatriation of the Nigerians who were imprisoned on different charges was made possible by the Nigerian ambassador to Tanzania. According to Balogun, most of the convicts are arrested for alleged drug-related offenses, while a few of the offenses border on immigration law violations. He explained that the mission had been visiting other custodial facilities in Tanzania to check other Nigerians who may be serving jail terms, adding that it had also canvassed for amnesty for the prisoners on account of the COVID-19 pandemic. A man identified as Wild Jero has been arrested by Lebanese authorities for advertising a Nigerian lady for sale on Facebook. The Nigerian in Diaspora Commission confirmed this in a tweet on Thursday, a day after Lebanese authorities condemned the incident. Jero had advertised the victim, Busari Peace, with her Nigerian passport on a Facebook page with the caption, "Buy and sell in Lebanon." He put a price tag of $1,000 on the 30-year-old Ibadan, Oyo State indigene. An international passport said to have been obtained from the victim in May 2018 revealed that she hailed from Ibadan State. Now, following Jero's arrest, the Nigerian mission in Lebanon has demanded that the victim be handed over to eat unconditionally and in good health. We'll take a break here to return with business stories. Stay with us. Welcome back. Let's now talk business. Oyin Adekunle is standing by with details. Hello, Oyin.
Hi, Fidelia.
So the three tiers of government has received allocation or revenue generated for the month of March. Could you give us more details about this?
Yes, a total of 780.9 billion naira has been shared between the federal, state and local governments for March 2020 by the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee, FAC. This was disclosed in a statement by the Director, Information, Press and Public Relations, Henshaw Obuike, after a virtual FAC meeting with the 36 state commissioners of finance, revenue generating agencies and officials of the Federal Ministry of Finance. From the shared sum comprising statutory revenue, value-added tax and exchange gain, the federal government received 264.3 billion naira, the state governments received 181.4 billion naira, and the local government councils received 135.9 billion naira. And oil rose on Thursday, spurred by rising tensions in the Middle East, output cuts by producing nations to tackle oversupply and the promise of more government stimulus to ease the economic pain of the new coronavirus pandemic. Brent crude was up $1.89 at $22.26 per barrel, while U.S. crude rose $3.43 to $17.21 per barrel. Brent has lost roughly two-thirds of its value this year. Concerns about the collapse in demand because of travel restrictions to contain the coronavirus pandemic and a shortage of space to store oil still dominate, but analysts say they do not expect a repeat of Monday's price shock. We'll take a pause here and return with stock market review. Investors on the NSE are seriously weighing their risks in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic, and the result of this is the recent instability being witnessed in the capital market. Crucial market indicators today, Thursday, depreciated by 1.36% as some investors tried to cash out gains from previous rally, while market cap fell from 11.8 trillion naira to 11.710 trillion naira at the close of trading today. Profit taking pushed the volume of trade higher by about 15 million units, while the value of shares traded also went from 1.8 billion naira to 3.358 billion naira today. And the market giants are still hurting the most, with Nestle recording another bad day, which saw its share price dip by 65 naira. Dangote Cement also fell by 4 naira 50 kobo. The weight pulled by these two equities alone was enough to drag the market to the reds today. And of course, we see that BUA Cement and UACN also completed the list of 4 losers. Moving on now, the banking and manufacturing sector were the toast of investors today as Stanbic led the pack of gainers with a 1 naira increase, followed by Cadbury and of course WAPCO and Guarantee Trust Bank, all trading in the positive territory today. But moving on now, outside of Nigeria, it was a good market day in the UK, with FTSE recording some points higher. US stocks are also rising in early trading as traders weigh unemployment filings and an oil market rebound. And of course, Japan stocks are also rising today, closing 1.52% higher. And that's it from here. It's back to you now, Fidelia.
Thank you very much, Oyin, for that update. Let's now move to the foreign scene. 2 men accused of committing crimes against humanity for the Syrian government have gone on trial in Germany. Anwar R, age 57, is suspected of being involved in the torture of at least 4,000 people arrested during the violent suppression of peaceful protest against Bashar al-Assad's rule in 2011. He has been charged with 58 counts of murder as well as rape and sexual assault, while the second suspect, Iyad A, has been charged with torture of at least 30 opposition activists. The 2 suspects allegedly worked as agents under Syria's most powerful civilian intelligence agency, the General Intelligence Directorate, GID. Both men fled Syria in the midst of its ongoing civil war and applied for asylum in Germany, where they were arrested in 2019. And that's it on News Now. Many thanks for joining us. I am Fidelia Aguncha. Bye for now.